Okay. Hi, everybody. So this is another virtual learning lesson. As we get ready for Halloween, we're going to be doing a couple Halloween lessons in the next 2 weeks. So our first one that we're going to do is a spider and a web. So we're doing this because Halloween's coming and spiders are kind of spooky. So this is our that we're going to do. So what you're going to need for this lesson is your white piece of paper, and you're going to need your spider body. You're going to need 8 of his legs. So there's 8 here, but you're going to need 8 legs. You're also going to need a white crayon, and you're going to need some orange paint and also a paintbrush. So I'm going to flip the camera up so that you can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. All right, so I'm going to just flip this up just like this. And here is my piece of paper. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our black crayon and we're going to do our spider web first. So we're going to start out in the middle of our paper somewhere, and we're just going to draw a line coming down. We want it to go all the way to the edge of our paper. So then you're going to go back to where you started that line, and you can do another one. There's no definite amount of number, how many of these strands of his web that you have to have. We just want to make sure the whole paper is full. So again, we're going to start in the center and go out. And I'm going to add one more in here. I'm going to start from the center and go out. So if you need to catch up, that was a good time to pause it so you can do that before we move on to the next step. Okay, so for our next step, we need the strands of the web that go in between. So you have a choice for this. You can do them straight, like this, or if you want to, you can do them so they're a little bit curved. So you're going to do this all over your paper, and you notice that I will, here we go. You notice I will start where I left off and put the web in. And I'm going to go all the way to the edge of the paper. So now I'm going to come here and start with this one where I left off. And I'm just going to add more of my webs in. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here, do more of the same. If you want your web to show up darker, make sure you're pressing hard with your crayon. So we're going to do some more over here. Okay, so now you have your whole web. So this is a good time to pause if you aren't ready to move on to the next step. Yeah. Okay, so after your web is done, the next thing you're going to need is some orange paint. And what we're going to do with our orange paint is we're just going to paint our whole paper orange. So you're going to want your orange paint, and you're also going to want your paintbrush. So I'm going to do this, and as I'm doing it, you're going to be able to see the black come through, so you're not completely covering up your web, which is good news. All right, so I'm still doing this. And you want to get all of it. Okay. All right, so now our paper's covered. So for the purpose of this art lesson, I'm going to keep on going with it just for recording. If you feel more comfortable, you can let this dry and then come back after it's dry and finish the next couple of steps if you're worried about the wet paint. If not, I mean, you're going to go ahead. Now is a good time to pause it if you're still working on your painting. So after we do our orange painting, we're going to get the things we need for our spider. So him and his legs. And we're going to get some white glue. And we're going to get our pastel. So if you did not let your paper dry first, you're going to want to draw on your spider his eyes and his face before we start gluing him on here because it will be difficult to start doing that with wet paint. So I just have my white crayon and I'm going to give the spider some eyes and I'm going to give him a happy face too. We're going to make him not such a scary spider. And you can have your spider however you would like. So now we're going to get his legs. So I'm going to count out 8. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now what we're going to do, we're going to fold these legs, all of them, we're going to fold them in half like this. So I'm folding all my legs in half. All my legs in half. Okay. So now that my legs are all folded in half, I'm going to add one more fold to them. I'm going to take the end and I'm just going to fold it like this. This is so you have a way to stick this leg under your spider and you have something to glue it on. So I'm just picking this up and I'm just folding it up. So I'm just folding it up. And it doesn't have to be a huge fold. It doesn't really matter how the size of this fold, how big this piece of paper is, just as long as you have enough to glue on. All right, so if you are still gluing your legs or folding your legs, actually, now's a good time to pause before we move on to the next step. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to glue our spider's body onto the web. So you're just going to use a little bit of glue and you can stick him wherever you want on his web. Okay, so if you're still gluing your spider, now's a good time to pause. If not, we can move on to the next step, which are his legs. So our spider has a lot of legs. He has 8 legs. So the way we're going to glue these on is those little tabs that you have folded back. You're just going to put a little bit of glue on there and just slide it under his body like that. So since he has 8 legs, we're going to do 4 on each side. So I'm just adding a tiny bit of glue and slipping it under and then making sure I push down to make sure they stick. So I'm going to do another glue. And that. And another. Okay, so we got 4 legs to go. Put that one in. And this one. And this one. And our last leg. So if you are still gluing your legs, now is a good time to pause so I can show you the next step. All right, so now what you can do, if your paper is still wet, you're going to want to wait to do this, but you can draw, and mine's not going to show up as good because my paper is still wet. You can draw the spinner coming out if you want and kind of have it go, you know, wherever you want to on the paper. If you have glitter or anything like that at your house, feel free to add this to him. And this is our Halloween spider. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. If you do this lesson at home, make sure to send pictures to your teachers. I'm really loving getting pictures and seeing everybody at home doing their artwork. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.